student fee. Then this is now we're getting to very interesting topic, that how much we spend in per pupil spending. And as you will see in coming slide, this depends where um, where the school district is, how many students they have. So the number is can vary from, like, $8,000 per year in per pupil spending to $70,000 per year, depending upon the population density of the area. So California ranked 41st among all states in spending per K to 12. The California schools spent on the average of around 11,000 per K to 12 student in 2015-2016, which is around $2,000 less per year. But again, these numbers we don't know exactly. Are they talking about strictly on tuition or buildings, playgrounds, many other factors in the play. But let's keep moving. California ranked as a share of state's economy, California ranked 37th among all states in K to 12 spending. So that's another measure they're looking at. So in 2015-16, 3.29 percentage of state personal income uh, was spent on K to 12 education. California student to teacher ratio, which is around ranked highest actually in the student to teacher ratio, and the ratio was greater than 24 to 1. I mean, we already know that in most of the high schools or middle schools, actually this number is around 35 to 40 to 1, 40 students to 1 teacher. So California ranked 51st in K to 12 students to teacher ratio. And you can read more about, on these websites. This is from California Budget and Policy Center. Okay. Now, this I got from a very nice tracking tool available on npr.org, which looks at, for different school districts in state of California, or you can actually, this is a nationwide tool, like Death Valley Unified School District. It spends $70,000 per student because, again, going back to the population density, versus like LA Unified around $11,000 per student. So now you can imagine that if you have some illegal students going to school in Death Valley Unified School District, how much it is costing um, the school district over there. Desert Center Unified School District, $42,000. That's another school district in state of California. So US average was around $12,000 per student. And you can use this tracking tool. And then we will compare these numbers, how much is being spent in other countries, and then what quality of the product, type of product quality, I mean, like in terms of student quality we are getting. So this slide talks about the components of the education, what percentage goes to their instruction employee salaries, their benefits, pupil support, general administration, school administration. Very interesting slide. Here you can see that instruction employee salaries. The big percentage in New York goes to them versus in other states. It varies. See, some states have way more administrative charges, some states have less, um, many different factors. But you can go to this website governing.com and read the entire article. California community colleges key stats. In community colleges, they add 70% of our nurses. These are just some quick stats. That 80% of our firefighters and 29% of the UC California and 51% of Cal State graduates actually they started their education at California community colleges, and how much we spend and um, all these stats. Then also we checked on NPR dot that what is the state voucher system. Some states in US they do have voucher system, and then um, Donald Trump and his pick of education secretary Betsy DeVos, they're very big proponents of charter schools or voucher systems, because this way the parents have an option that if they do not like the education system in public schools, they can take their kids to private schools and they will be issued a voucher which can be used to pay for education in private schools, and of course the balance they will have to come out from their pocket. But you can read more about these. What are the plans? Only few states actually says only 14 states and Washington DC had voucher programs in US. Obviously, teachers unions, they are strongly against the voucher system, because they think then the bright kids will actually end up leaving public schools, and it will public schools will be burdened with kids with disabilities or um, not hardworking, and who are not very academically want to push themselves. This article again talks about the voucher system. Again, you guys can read more about on this website how this works. um, then these are some of our thoughts that first thing we need to do, we need to publish the data uh, of the students based on their resident categories who are attending our schools. What percentage of them are California, legal residents? I mean the U.S. permanent residents, U.S. citizens. What percentage of them are on some special, their parents are here on some special type of work visas like H-1B, OPT, student visa, because these are also, a person can come here on student visa, um, and then he can bring his family right away. Same thing with H-1B. These they do not have to. There is no waiting period for their families. So somebody is coming here in state of California, and then we'll see that number. Oh, this person is contributing to state's economy because he's going to school here. But what if he brings his entire family here, and now the kids are going to school for free? Similarly, a H-1B, a company might save $10,000, $20,000 hiring a H-1B worker per year, but then he may send all of his kids to California public schools for free education. Who is actually picking the tab? And then what kind of guidelines are placed in our school districts? How often they check these requirements? This is all very gray area, and I have some slides where I try to look for the policies. It actually varies from school district to school district. There are no streamlined standard guidelines in place that how often um, these basically the residency requirements are checked. So similarly, um, why don't we actually make companies foot the bill? If a company is hiring someone on OPT, H-1B, or a student visa worker, then they should be actually paying for their kids, their employees' kids' education, because they're the benefiters of cheap labor, but then they're pushing the burden to state, which is not fair. And also, we need to explain, do a good job of telling parents that the way our education system is in state of California, it makes the burden of educating a kid on the school. Like school districts, they are responsible for giving them low cost meals, breakfast, lunch, also helping them, providing, poor families, children from poor families, their health insurance, dental insurance, and many other programs. And even before school or after school childcare programs, ROP programs, vocational programs, but then still our product is very low quality, in the end product. We tell our children in schools, oh, you do whatever you want to be, that doesn't matter, money you shouldn't be thinking about. Then what about the country? If your country needs, if your state needs more, students qualified in STEM, why don't we explain them? Why don't we encourage our kids towards STEM majors? STEM means science, technology, engineering, and math. And then this is like, very, we don't raise our kids conservatively, and then we invite more foreigners, and then we compound the problem even further. Now these are the articles, I try to download online, that are there any streamlined policies in place, that how often these school districts should be checking for that, if they do qualify for free education. But the way it seems like, um, once the student gets admission in a school district, they don't check them, it automatically gets rolled over. So the parent might have already lost his visa, he may not have a H-1B visa, or he might be working in another state, or his student visa might have expired, he might have actually even left the country. But then, since at the time of admission they had a student visa, these school districts do not check the basically the requirements periodically, which is extremely unfortunate, and the burden is pushed to California taxpayers. These are again, you can search online. It's a very gray area. Did not find basically some, any streamlined policies about residency verification in school districts. Um, so I'll finish our this module here, and then please, do watch our rest of the modules. Thank you.